Hey everybody, it's Cindy here, and I wanted to talk to you today about decluttering because it's spring cleaning season, and I know a lot of you are going to do some decluttering now that winter is basically over and spring has sprung. And so I wanted to just give some thoughts on that and some tips, and apparently my cat thinks she needs to be involved in this video. Sorry. She loves her mama. I've been gone for several hours and just got back, and so she's going to be a little more clingy right now. So please just take us as we are. Anyway, so when decluttering, okay, let's talk about decluttering materialistically, stuff. And I want you to kind of mentally take a tour through your home, garage, storage space, office, cars, anything, any property or space that you are in charge of, and look around in your mind and ask yourself, am I okay with the condition in which these rooms or spaces are in? Am I okay with it? And if I'm not, if I'm feeling overwhelmed, if I'm feeling crammed, if I'm feeling like I know there's a lot in there that I don't want, need, or use, kind of thing, then perhaps it's time to declutter. So why declutter? Well, let me just say that things that you are not using, someone else may be desperate to use. The clothes you're not wearing, the furniture you no longer use or need. There are people in the world and places in the world that really, really can use our stuff. And it's not up to us to judge of what is going to be of value to someone else, but rather if we no longer want, need, or use something, we can find several places to pass them on, depending on what community we live in or what area of the world we live in. We can find plenty of places or options to pass them on to others who can really use them. So that's one reason. Another reason is because the research says that if you're cluttered in your physical space or materialistically cluttered up, that will also clutter your mind and clutter your emotional life. So you will have more mental and emotional baggage the more physical clutter that you have around you. So the opposite is also true. As you clear that out, as you clear your space out and get it more organized and free-flowing and more highly functioning, the more peace of mind you will have, and you will feel better emotionally also. So it's a good boost of mood to be decluttered, okay? And you'll just enjoy your space more. It will be more highly functional. You will enjoy being in these spaces more and work more efficiently and all kinds of things. So there's many benefits. The other kind of spiritual benefit that some say is that when we release things we no longer need, then we are opening up our hands to receive more abundance in our life. And that could mean financial abundance. It could mean material abundance, manifesting something you've always wanted. It could be opening up to more abundance of love or friendship or productivity or progress or success, all kinds of things. So there's lots of ways to look at this, and you can believe what you want or not about any of that, but those are some of the different philosophies behind decluttering. So I really invite you to consider it again and take a mental tour of your spaces and see, where you want to get started, if at all. So one general rule when you're going through clothing and shoes and things like that, maybe handbags, other accessories, coats, belts, hair accessories, all kinds of things. If you haven't worn it in 1 year, like ever, in 1 year, probably you can get rid of it. You're probably not going to wear it again. Now, we do have some items like evening gowns. Men have tuxedos sometimes. There are, or holiday outfits, things like that. Those things that you only get out once a year and once every other year or something for special occasions that are designed specifically for special occasions. Then of course I don't mean that. What I'm talking about is that the research says that most people wear 20% of their wardrobe 80% of the time. It's called the 20-80 rule. So 20% of your wardrobe you wear 80% of the time. So look at those items that you have in those categories, the kinds of clothes you wear most of the time, and see what 4/5 of it that you're not wearing hardly ever, and get rid of it. Clear out your closet. You'll love yourself for doing this in your drawers. Now, another thing to look at, another big kind of clutter in our society is paper clutter. It's getting better now, but what's increased instead is technological clutter. That means the zillions of photos you have digitally stored. It means the 3,000 emails you haven't gone through. That means files that you never use, but yet they're on your computer, they're on your phone, they're apps on your phone you're never using, but it's cluttering up your space there, and that kind of thing. But I'm not going to go into that any more than that. But paper clutter. People keep tax forms for decades. People have piles of magazines around their homes that they're never going to read again or get to at all. I've done that. I mean, I'm not judging. I understand this. There's all kinds of paper. There's people who keep every birthday card ever given to them. There's those of you hanging on to all kinds of paper from your projects when you were growing up. There's all kinds of paper clutter. All your utility bills for the last 5 years, things like that. You don't need that stuff, okay? I believe the rule is with our taxes in the United States anyway, is to keep 7 years of your taxes, proof of your taxes, your filing of your taxes and that kind of thing. But if you're carrying around taxes and things from 15 years ago, 10 years ago, 9 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, it's okay to shred those things. Shred, however, anything with your identity on it, social security number on it, anything like that, shred it, because identity theft is a huge issue in our country. So shred it and recycle it. Shred it and recycle it. But get rid of stuff. Don't hang on to it anymore. If you haven't touched it in a year, or it's past a year of relevance, except for things like mortgages, property, any paperwork around properties you still own, taxes for the last 7 years, anything like that, of course, that's different. But most stuff you're hanging on to, checkbooks you never finished using all the checks in, and then you got new ones because you moved or your name changed or you liked a different design, and you still have like checks laying around, shred them. Get rid of them. Get rid of them. Open up your drawers and your files, and open up space for different things, for things that are relevant to your life now. Another kind of clutter that's huge, is memory clutter. There's many kinds of this. Some of it is your stuff from deceased people that you've kept. Some of it is like your childhood art projects, your trophies from high school, anything that's from the past that you're keeping and keeping and keeping. Now, of course, we all have mementos. We all have things that are really special to us. That I recently found, seriously, like 5 years ago, I found the stack of graduation cards from my high school graduation. I'm almost 51 years old. I probably don't need to keep my high school graduation cards, right? Who am I going to look at those ever again? But yet there was a stack of a huge, hundreds of them. I mean, tons and tons of them. I kept those for how many years? 30 years, over 30 years. Or almost 30 years, I guess it would have been if it was 5 years ago. So that's an example. So that's something. If you're feeling overwhelmed, if you've got space, all kinds of space, and you don't mind how many plastic tubs full of stuff you keep, and it's not getting in your way, and you don't feel overwhelmed, keep everything you want under the sun. I don't care. But if you're feeling overwhelmed, or you'd like to open up space for things that are more relevant to your now, then I would prioritize your memory clutter and go, what's really important to me that I keep from my past that I might share with my children or my grandchildren or whatever, and what can go. Now, when it's a deceased loved ones, something or other. Part of why you're hanging on to that stuff is your attachment to the person. It's about your emotional attachment to the person or your unresolved grief more than it's just, oh, I just want to have this cuz. Like, let's talk about the difference in things. Okay, I'll use myself as an example. Although I hear examples of this kind of stuff all the time. All the time. My dad died suddenly without warning, young, about 5 years ago. And I was in charge of his estate. And at first I kept all kinds of stuff. And then I started dwindling it down. And I'm down to just a few things now. Now, from a sentimental attachment perspective, I'm keeping his guitar. I'm going to keep that guitar until I die, and then somebody else is going to get his guitar and have to decide what to do with it. I've decided that already. I know that, and I'm fine with that. That's fine with me, right? But another thing I still have 5 years later is the ribbon off the casket spray. I have the leftover funeral programs that weren't used. I have this donor. He was an organ donor, so I received this nice kind of, not a plaque, but a nice keepsake from the state of Iowa Organ Donation Association, or whatever they're called. Things like that and all the sympathy cards. I've kept many things like that really deep down, is that important for me to keep those things? Probably not now. It's been 5 years and I appreciate all those things, but I don't need to keep them all. And so I also have his grade cards from elementary school. I have photo albums of his that have duplicate pictures of what I already have in my own photo albums. Things like that. So look at your home, look at your stuff, and notice what you have from deceased people. And make sure it's manageable and really important to you. A way to filter through some of this is to check your beliefs, your belief system about memory clutter. Because part of what people say to themselves keeps them from giving things away or throwing things away. For example, one of my grandmothers who died 7 years ago, I believe, she had a salt and pepper shaker collection. 200 and some pairs of salt and pepper shakers. And if we believed that we were being disrespectful to her giving those away, we would have had to keep and drag around 200 and some pairs of salt and pepper shakers for the rest of our lives. Now, really? If we believed that, we would do that. And so if you're hanging on to a whole bunch of things from deceased people, because check your beliefs about it, because you may just be doing it out of guilt. You may be thinking it's dishonoring them if you get rid of things. You may be thinking all kinds of things that keep you from freeing yourself of material things of other people's. And it isn't true. It wasn't disrespectful of us to get rid of some of her salt and pepper shakers. Now, some of us I have, 3 or 4 pair that I wanted to keep in memory of her. But would I have dragged around 200 pair of salt and pepper shakers for the rest of my life because I just felt like I should because she collected them all her life? No. So check your memory clutter, especially from deceased people. And yes, honor them in some way if you want to. And then let go of other things. Let people use and enjoy the things that they enjoyed in their life that really don't serve you now. Trust me, your deceased people are not sitting around going, boy, they better hang on to my clothes, or they better hang on to my furniture, or they're bad. They're my very bad relatives if they don't hold on to my collections of things. They are pure love. If they're anything at all, they would want you to be happy above all else and not burdened or overwhelmed by their stuff. So those are just some thoughts about decluttering. Again, look at your memory clutter, the past clutter in your life, whether it's yours or someone else's. Look at your paper clutter and start clearing that out. Please recycle anything you possibly can, or shred it and recycle it if it needs to be shredded. And then look at all your physical spaces, your clothes, and your storage spaces, garages, attics, basements, and that kind of thing. And every item you see in those places, or in those boxes or tubs or on those shelves, ask yourself, do I want, need, or use this? Do I really want, need, or use this? Have I touched this in the last year? And let that help you decide whether to put it in your giveaway box, your throwaway box, your recycle box, or your keep box. And that will help get you started. And I hope, one more suggestion is I would start small on this. If you're feeling overwhelmed, I would choose maybe one drawer, like maybe that kitchen drawer we all have that has, the junk drawer in the kitchen, or start with one portion of your closet, some area of your space that is not overly emotional for you, and find yourself some quick success in this and see how good it feels to open a drawer that's now organized and only has in it what you're actually going to use. And then you'll feel a little boost of, wow, that wasn't so bad, and look how neat that is, and now I know where every single thing is. I love this feeling. And then that'll help you move forward to the next space and the next space and the next space. And pretty soon you're going to feel so organized, so on top of your game, and love looking in your different spaces at only the things you most want, need, and use right now. And then your mind will feel more at peace, and your emotional baggage will be released in some way, at some level. And you'll feel so good, you'll want to maintain this as you go along. So anyway, I hope this was helpful, and I'll talk to you again soon. Have a great weekend. Bye.